Hey guys, can everyone hear me that's on Teams?
I can.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you everyone for joining. I know we've had kind of some scheduling issues with everyone's schedule, so I appreciate everyone working this into their schedule. Just a reminder, this is recorded. It will be posted on the Procore Training Center. And I also just wanted to let everyone know, just also a friendly reminder, that once we're done with these lunch and learns, we will compile the SOPs, send out an email, and then I post the training link and videos in the training section on the Procore Training Center. And if you want to link back or share it with anyone, you just need to click lunch and learn videos. And then I have it posted there and I list what we covered. So that's just a friendly reminder if any of your team can't make it, or if you want to go back and check over something, but it'll be emailed and posted. Awesome.
All right, on the walks.
Let me zoom in for you.
Okay, so people that were at Cityway or Foundry, they've all been part of this. So we used to do a 45 to 60-day meeting with property management. Before we started, we'd sit down, we'd go through owner's training. We would pull up the owner's walk schedule and we would list everything as part of the building by floor, number of units, amenity area, all that. And we would go through a list of dates of when we're going to walk these units, who's responsible for it on our side for the walk and also on ownership side. We would track that to our schedule so that we can manage it, make us accountable and also make property management accountable. So we're going to go back to that because we run into these issues I've seen on projects that we're not doing it, where I'll call and say, hey, when you walk with ownership, well, they couldn't do it today. So we're going to push it back 2 days. So doing this and keeping this up to date through the entire process and sending it to property management will help to hold them accountable based off these walk dates. And it worked really well at the Foundry, it worked really well at Cityway, and so we're going to go back this route. Before we did an Excel spreadsheet, now we're going to run this through Smartsheet. So this is kind of, I mean, this is a basis. We pulled off one of the ones we did at Cityway and someone from the Foundry, but I mean, it can change based off of what the project is. But, you know, you list it by floors, number of units you're going to walk a day. Some property managers will walk an entire floor a day. They want to walk half a floor a day. So all that information will be in here. You put the date in there, you'll put who's walking it, and then if anything pushes, because you're going to be, 60 days out, so anything pushes based off anything as far as, materials or getting something finished, then you can automatically update this, send it back out to the team so everyone knows exactly what we're tracking. Does that make sense? Go back to the SOP part of it.
I'm trying to find it.
So this is mostly going to be tracked by the PM and the PEs based off of the schedule that's agreed upon with the lead supers and the PM. Our new schedule template has all that listed in owner's walks. So it should be easy to pull this together off of that. So that shouldn't be a problem. And then, like I said, it's broke down into different, gives you a list of how to break it down. That can change based off of the project type, the mid-rise to like on the garden style, we do it in pods instead of floors. So it's not written in stone, but it's a good base to start off of. Any questions on that?
Is the goal to walk with the same person every time?
Yes, so whoever's on the list that walks with you is to be the person that signs off the DOP. So this is something that we're gonna go over with property manager too. We're not gonna do this where the maintenance guy walks originally and then the property manager walks with you for the list and adds a bunch more stuff to it. Whoever walked it with you originally will walk the DOPs. And this will help base that off of who's actually responsible for it.
Thank you very much for that.
Any questions from the field guys? I think most of you guys have did this at some point, but.
No. Silence is golden.
PMs, any questions?
I'll go with DOP. So next is a DOP form in Procore. So let me zoom in on this so everyone in here can read it. So the main focus on this is now it's a loaded form in Procore, and I'll show everyone how to access that. But the PE is responsible for uploading the DOP forms into Procore prior to the owner walk. I did these for Caesars and Mosaic. So again, if anyone has questions about this, relay it to me and I'll help you. But the site team is responsible for walking with ownership and completing the DOP form, including the management signatures, which you will see in just a second. But the nomenclature on here is it needs to be named with the building number, the unit number, or the common area name. So the title of the form needs to follow the same nomenclature, basically, so there's no mistakes. You just want to replicate the same title. So for example, building A would be listed, zoomed in, just like that. Or if you have a common space for building B, you would label it like that. And just a reminder that units need to be 100% signed off on, no exceptions whatsoever. And it'll be really helpful because in the Procore, let me zoom in a little bit.
It's unity and common, just all the spaces have to be 100%, right?
Yep. And so on this, everyone's familiar with Procore, but you want to be on your actual project. Just make sure you're on your project. You'll go into project tools and you will go down to forms. And also just to update everyone that's on this call, I'm going through and making sure everyone's permissions are adequate. So if at any point in time you're trying to access something on Procore that you do not have access to, or you're just having a limited function that you think you need to have, please just let me know and I'll look into it because I'm going through those at the moment. But you'll click forms. And you'll go to the top right where it says fill out form. You'll click DOP letter. And then this is the form. So here you would type in, like, let's say Mosaic. I don't remember the project number. 1, 2, 3, 4.
2020-123, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just for, it's not? Okay. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's the development
one,
one,
two.
though. Yeah.
And then you just want to list, so where you type, and then you can check box things, and then let's say, and also it should not allow you to go to the next screen unless you have this stuff filled out, and then you will have signature areas, and then, sorry, this is just, and then make sure you have the dates as well. But right here is where you'll want to change the title. So for this, I did not list the building. So let's say this is building 1, men's bathroom. That's what I would want the name of this to be, just so it's the same, because where it says name right here, this is what's going to show on Procore when you're trying to find everything.
So the unit number and area on the form is the same that's on the Procore side?
Then are you saying the unit area is the same as the name? Yes. Yes, you want those to be the same. Obviously, make sure you're typing things correctly. But so that was building 1, men's bathroom. And then it's right there. So that's what I'm saying is you want it to be labeled right there. And if you have to make any, let me move this. If you need to download the PDF version, same as always with inspections and observations, you'll click that PDF. It'll download it there. And you can also click info. You can email it out. You can set up an auto distribution if needed as well. Or you can edit this. Like, let's say I put the wrong date. You can just go back in and change it. Are there any questions on the DOP form letter in Procore at this moment?
The PEs and project coordinator loaded in. So the site guys, you guys will just see all of your units and all of your spaces in there. And you'll just be able to fill out the bottom part of that and save it so that it's faster to walk.
Yeah, the PE is responsible for just loading that in, or myself, and then
Yeah.
it should be very easy. And it's the same process as on the iPad as looking up an observation or inspection. You just go to your tools, pull it up, and quite frankly, I think forms are a little easier on the iPad. So if you guys run into any issues while you're on your iPad, just let me know and I can troubleshoot with you as well.
Question.
So we are doing, sorry, this is Sean. We are doing, all these DOPs on an iPad. We're not printing them out and doing them, having them signed, or we having them e-sign. Will they be able to e-sign on these?
They can sign your iPad, Sean.
Okay. Perfect.
This text box will pop, like, once you're on your iPad, let me delete my guy. But once you're on your iPad, you literally just have to click this and you'll be able to do this with your finger instead of a mouse. So it'll actually be much easier for signature portions if you are on the iPad, Sean.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure if you had to use DocuSign or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's really easily integrated, and also, I don't think this has happened yet, but just a reminder, if you ever need to attach something specific to a DOP form, you can attach a file here. Same as an inspection and observation, it's pretty similar.
Say if anyone has questions, this is Kay. We've done this on Mosaic and at Caesars, so our site staff and office staff know how to do it. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me as well.
Perfect. Thanks. Okay. No more questions. Attic stock.
So this is something we're updating. I worked with the PMs on this, so the issue with this was we had some areas on projects where we had a bunch of stuff left over, some areas we had nothing left over. Then we got property management calling us after we leave because they need, 5 carpet tiles, we didn't have any left. So this is going to help as far as making sure when we leave the project, there is adequate enough stuff that they can handle this without constantly calling us. So the PMs will build this into their future contracts based off of this. There will be some areas that'll change. This is kind of a baseline on what you should have per trade, but this should be built into the contracts ahead of time, so there's no arguing with the sub saying, hey, I didn't have that. Because if you get some of their bid proposals that says no attic stock, we need to make sure when we go to contract that is in there. So we kind of broke it down based off of input from, Kay was in this, Bill, Brian, we kind of went through this with the PMs based off of what we think we should have per trade. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's just mostly on the PM to make sure this is in the contracts. Any questions about this attic stock?
Warranty. You want to do the letter first or the flow chart?
No, so let's talk about the warranty. So everybody in the field, speak candidly, we know this is an issue. So we have redid this with Rebecca's help because the one we have before was kind of circular. This kind of breaks it down more. We have the issue where we finish a project and we get nonstop calls from property management because of warranty issues. This is going to streamline this. We're also going to give this as part of the closeouts to the property management team. When they sign off, they have it. And then with my help, the PM's help, we're going to start pushing this back. I think this is much more self-explanatory on the process, on how they go through it, where they realize there's a problem. Is it a warranty problem? They call the subcontractor for the first year. If it's something where the contractor is not responding, then the PM will get involved with the first step. If it goes past that with no response, then I'll get involved. But I think Rebecca and Carly did a great job of how to break this out, so I don't think there's going to be any questions. It's not going to be perfect. We're still going to have people calling, but we need to push back as a group to make them responsible for their own actions, unless it's something that's major. If we have something break, there's a flood unit, by all means, we need to get involved to help to make sure that gets fixed. But for the most part, they should handle this themselves. Any questions from the field guys? I think this is going to help a lot when it comes to the calls after you guys leave.
That's been part of the ConOps focus group. This is one of those major items that we've been evaluating the standard of expectations and how we protect ourselves and our group and make sure that we communicate it to other teams. So we're reviewing these touch points where we do typically see that there's like a process failure, or they kind of find a loophole, or they just, you know, the easy route is just to come straight to us. So we just want to make sure that everyone feels that they are comfortable, but Tom and everyone involved, it's, you know, you can say like, follow the warranty process. Like we need to all be consistent with the same messaging, because if one person goes above and beyond and just handles it for them, then they'll get used to that expectation. Whereas we all just need to have like a unified front that they need to follow this process. And again, if anything, if you're getting kickback or anything like that, loop Tom in and let us know, because this is something we're pushing forward. And then, you know, we're adapting our warranty walk process with Nick and kind of how we're capturing that information as well. So that'll kind of go hand in hand with this.
That was gonna be my question. And Tom, do you see Nick having a major involvement with this?
No, this will be something we'll handle with our teams that are on the job until it goes. Nick won't be involved until we get close to that 1-year warranty.
Yeah.
And then he'll walk and then he'll manage that.
So there is like kind of a subsequent process that's gonna happen where Nick will have, some projects, we have a 6-month and a 1-year walk. And what's gonna happen is we'll reach out to maintenance and to ITOPS, and they're gonna provide us with a list of items that have like happened on the project. We'll sort that data, get it to Nick to have a more pointed walk so that it's less like open-ended and less like whatever they feel like talking about. And we can kind of give like an itinerary of like, here's the items we need to address to kind of, again, just manage that expectation and manage those conversations so that it doesn't get out of hand quickly. So we'll keep everyone posted on that as well.
So we've also redid the warranty letter. So now all the warranty process goes through me. Keep trying to keep Nate out of this. He's busy enough without dealing with this too. So all this goes through me. I'll be signing the warranty letters and the whole warranty process with the chart and all that. So I need your guys' help to make sure that if they're continuing to call you, that you let me know if I can push back on the regionals to make sure their team is doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, because we're gonna send this out via DocuSign, and then that way Tom has the leverage to say, you had the exhibit, your team needs to know. And we do understand that like a lot of times, like you guys know, you'll have one maintenance team or property management team that starts with the project as it's kind of closing up, and then there's turnover and you get a new team, and all of a sudden they kind of bypass what they already knew. And so we're kind of pushing them to continue consistent training with this process, no matter who the team is and who comes onto that project.
Any questions for anybody?
Next. Okey doke. Photos, the fun part. So with this, I won't go over all the meat and potatoes in it, but I will send this out so you can dive deep on this. But basically on this SOP, we're really focusing on the job site camera setup and best practices for photos and storage on Procore. And sorry, just choked. On the job site camera, Sean, I know we're having issues with your camera at the moment. And Mr. Haley, we've gone back and forth with EarthCam, so I appreciate your guys' patience on that. But for just setting up a job site camera, it's going to be a PM and lead super to assist in the logistics with me. Basically, like what I need to order, where it's going to go, all that stuff. And we're going to need the camera installed on the job site no later than 1 week after the notice to proceed.
So this will mean the PMs, they'll still be buying out. So they need to get quotes from the electricians, basically an invoice quote of what it would cost to put the cameras in. Even if it's not the person you necessarily use, it still needs to happen up front. Even if it's not a contract, we can get the information pulled together, have them send us an invoice and do it that way.
We can also, the other piece of this is if we run into any issues with that in like the negotiation during the buyout, there is each of the camera providers that we have picked, they do have an install fee And so we can always get the quote from them to set it up and they guarantee it at that point. So it might be for the next couple of times, we'll compare the two quotes and see who we want to run with. But just to let you guys know that we do have options in case we get pushback or we run into any like hiccups on that front.
And then also on just cameras at the job site, the Open Space 360 camera that you guys have utilized on your hard hats. I know I'll probably set up a follow-up training just to get everyone back on par with that because there are some new features that we can touch on. So I'll be setting up a training in the near future to go back in on Open Space, and I corrected the integration to your Procore. So Mike, if you guys are doing your your site walks, you can look at those in Procore now as well. I fixed the glitch, just to let you know.
Gold star to that team. They do
Yeah.
an awesome job.
Yeah, great job. We had an Open Space meeting the other day and they were shouting out the Anthem team on how well their walks were. So good job. I've been utilizing you guys as an example when I train. So thank you. On best practices. So I know you guys upload a lot of photos for daily logs, just checking up, SWIPs, all of that. Just please make sure you guys are taking clear and concise photos. So if you have a dusty camera, wipe it down. Try not to get your hand in the photos. Just make sure that what you're documenting is actually what you're taking a picture of. Sometimes the descriptions don't match the photo, so just keep an eye on that. If you guys need to mark up, or if you have any questions on how to mark up photos, please ask. Like if something you want to circle, just let me know. And then also just wanted to notate that both horizontal and vertical versions of photos are acceptable. I know I got asked that question, so I just wanted to let everyone know that that is fine.
So let's talk about when you're labeling photos for the project, we need to make them as detailed as possible. We don't need to type paragraphs, but if you're digging a footing on building 5, it should say west footing building 5 or east side building 5. Don't type, don't type it or just say footing. If there's 10 buildings on the job site, there's no way to know where that's at. And it also, I mean, everyone knows documentation is critical nowadays. So if we're looking for something, it's easy to go in and say, I'm looking for something, building 5, pull up all the photos for building 5 where the problem's at, I can go through it. If we just do random general tags, there's no way you're gonna find that without searching. And then if you do find it, there's no way you're gonna know what it is.
And it does help. I mean, these photos are for just documentation, historic purposes, progress updates, and then also the PMs and the PEs are using these images in their progress updates for those OAC reports and things like that. So just be mindful to make sure you're capturing things in a clear, concise way and labeling them because it helps everyone involved to make the best product in the end.
And you guys do a great job with your photos. I mean, I get comments in development meeting, how impressed they are with all the photos we take. You know, the progress reports, the photos we take, it paints a really good picture of where we're at in the project. You guys are doing a great job with the photos. I just ask you to do a little bit more on the details when you're documenting the photos of what they are, and it'd be perfect.
And to keep photos without people in them.
Yes.
If you do, get them smiling. And also to piggyback off what they said, what Tom was mentioning about like key phrases and searching, I did attach a little snippet on how you can search for filtered photos. So if you specifically were trying to find something and didn't want to dive in on like a certain folder or something, you can search for your types of photos. And then to talk about the storage in Procore, I know this is when the project is set up in Procore, but these are the minimum folder requirements. So we will need a per building, a clubhouse/amenity one, a site work, the site camera, which that should pre-populate. It's just based on what camera you have, how I set that up. So we'll coordinate that with me. And then your daily log and your SWIP. And then also we had a couple projects that had an unclassified. That's fine if it's like short term, but we don't want any pictures just sitting in there for the duration of the project. We just want to make sure they're classified where they go. So if you guys need help with that, let us know as well. Are there any questions about the storage in Procore or any of the timeline or expectations for photos? Anyone in here? Okay. Also, just to let everyone know, we have our game plan for our 4th and our 5th lunch and learn. So our 4th one, which is in 2 weeks, we're going to go over the notice to cure and the 24-hour notice. So Drew will be speaking about those, and we'll also be diving in on progress reports. And then just to give you a little more info on our 5th one, we'll be going over the project financials. So that will include budget imports and setup, the buyout templates, commitments, P&P bonds, pre-qualifications, and contracts. And again, on the training center that I showed you guys earlier, if there's anything you guys would like an SOP on, training or anything, you can put in a request. That's how we got some of these to talk about now. So just a reminder, if you have any requests, please load it in there.
You can always shoot Carly, Tom, or myself an email as well. If you have any, like I know Kay recently, she had a couple of templates that she had used on a project and she wanted to share it with the group. So she kicked them over to us. We're going to kind of evaluate them during our SOP and efficiency group meetings, make a couple of tweaks to them, and then we'll kick them out to everyone. It just helps if anyone has a way of doing something that is more efficient than what we currently have, and you guys have templates. The best way to, help you and help the team is to just share those templates, and so that we can all kind of work off of those. So just kick them our way. Doesn't hurt. Cody shared some stuff as well, which has been good. So.
Any other questions? Try anything for your guys' teams?
No, I think just generally speaking in terms of like what BC Services does is we will be taking these SOPs, reviewing them. If we need to change something specific, the idea is we want to keep our SOPs as consistent as possible across the board. However, some things don't apply or whatever. I don't necessarily think it's getting rid of that as an SOP, but when it does apply, these are the steps or these are the processes to handle this stuff. So we will be catching up BC Services with a lot of this effort right on the coattails of this effort and try to keep it as consistent as possible across the board. Make only the adjustments we need to make based on certain specifics of what we do.
Well, thanks everybody for showing up. You got them?
While we have the site guys on as well, do we want to just ask real quick? I know that it's been a little while since we brought it up, just kind of a refresher. If anyone, as you guys are on these projects and working through things, I know Dave has done a really good job of this in the past as well. If you guys are seeing design standards or if you're seeing things that aren't working out or you guys are having to adjust the design or you're running into issues and errors, please let Tom and myself know. Those meetings are kicking into effect again, and we're going to be diving deep into that. So the feedback from you guys on the site is going to be important, especially on projects like Bethpage, where it's a pattern project and we're planning on deploying this template over and over. The faster we can catch this stuff and get it changed means that those future projects are going to have less errors and issues that we're running into right now. So just a reminder, and if you have anything, let us know. And that is all on that front.
Thanks everybody. Appreciate your time.
Bye.